simple how-to guide for tuning arrows as you get ready for the fall 2011 hunting season.
Bear tuning shafts. I'm getting ready to fletch arrows. Actually, I started fletching the first one, and I thought, tuning is always a topic of discussion on the internet, so I decided I'd show kind of how I do it. I'm hoping to hunt this year with my Tridtech Titan 3, but if it doesn't come in, I think I'm going to open with this Martin X200. It's 50 pounds at 28 inches. I get about 48, 49 out of it. 60-inch bow. I've been bear shafting these Heritage 350s. Now it seems like a very stiff arrow, but I got a 200 grain point on it, and bear shafting, you really just want to get them down the middle. I've got a little bit of knock high, it's no problem. I'm not worried about that. The feathers will straighten it out. I've kind of got the knocking point where I want it for the way I shoot, but you ought to be able to get them shooting down the middle and grouping. This will really tell you a lot about your form. If you don't get a really clean release and have a good bow arm, you're going to have false indications. So it can be kind of dangerous if you're not careful, but hopefully you work on your form and you get them flying pretty good. So I'm going to set the camera up behind me here. We'll shoot them at 15 yards and we'll back up to 20 and take a look at them. And you'll see that pretty stiff shaft, give you some good weight, mass weight on these with a heavy point to weaken that stiff shaft back up and give you a little more punch come deer season. Okay, so that's at 15 yards, bear shafting. You can see right there in the dot, those are pretty tight. A little bit knock high, but that's perfect. Feathers will completely true that out. Pretty tight in there. I mean, for bear shafting, you're not going to get them perfect, but those are right on the dot. At 20, you'll see a little more divergence if they're not tuned. Shoot that center dot on the right, bro. About 20 yards, shooting the center dot there. I'll take that all day. So the feathers will true that up nicely. A little bit knock high, but they're right in there. Some folks like to bear shaft with these wraps already on if you're using a wrap. Some weight on the back does stiffen the arrow a little bit. These don't weigh much. I haven't found them to make a huge difference, but I guess it can make a little bit. So got this arrow finished up. I like a bright arrow. I love yellow feathers for hunting arrows, and I'm using a white
cap wrap. If you have never used these, they're pretty easy to use. I'm using 5-inch feathers on my hunting arrows. I like a big feather on my hunting arrow as well. And then these arrows, as I said, that bow's give me about 48 pounds. So these arrows, Heritage 350s, they are, let's see what they're gonna weigh here. Well, they're gonna be over 500, so let's add the, and they're moving out pretty quickly. Got one here in the Fletching jig. Put that on a few minutes ago, so it's ready for another one. I'll go ahead and put another one on, but first, I'll apply one of these cap wraps to let you see just how easy that really is. Let me zoom in on the arrow there and you can see it a little better maybe. And I'm sure there's a million different ways to do this, but I just get the cap wrap started there, pull it down and let it just lay straight down on my table, and then I always put my finger in that corner. I take the arrow and I put it right over to the edge, get it lined up as perfect as I can up top, and then I let it lay the rest of the way down. And that one I got just a little bit of a gap, but nothing huge. And then I just press it down, and I just work my finger around it, just pushing as it wraps. And these things, feathers really adhere to them good. I mean, they really stick. Now when you take them off, I had some old ones on some just the other day I took off, and I only use them for my hunting arrows, but I like them to show up really well. But you can peel them right off. Most arrows fairly easy. If you have trouble, you can boil a big pot of water and stick them down into boiling water, and they'll slide right off. So not too big of an issue to take them off, but you know, if you booger up a feather or something, you're going to take them completely off. And then what I do then is just twist the arrow against the way that thing sealed itself, just like that, and they seem to stick really nice. And then just put them in a feather jig and glue them on. I tell you, I've used a lot of glue in the past, and you see threads all the time with guys asking about what glue to use. I've used Fletch Tight, I've used Duco. I usually use Duco on all wood and Fletch Tight on carbon, but I'll tell you what, this Bob Smith Industries MaxiCure, that stuff is the ticket. I'll give you a close-up so you can see it there. I use it on all my arrows. From ACEs to hunting arrows to wood, everything. Here's some that I did for my wife, pretty pink and orange feathers with cap wraps as well. And man, that glue is just, that MaxiCure is really, really nice. And the arrows come out looking just great. So I'm going to put a couple more cap wraps on these and then shoot these bare shafted. Make sure they shoot as well as they did without them on there. Finish fletching them up, and by tomorrow I'll have 3 arrows done and ready to shoot and see how they fly. We'll shoot some 3D animals and some target.
Okay, so back at it again today. I was going through my video last night and I realized I left something out that I thought I'd been videoed early on, and that was when I was picking point weight for these arrows. When I was bare shafting these, and since I don't have it, I'll go ahead and do it with feathers on, which is fine. You can try this, but and that is to set up a target with a string going straight up and down. To my rear here, you can see there's a target there, and I'll zoom in on it in a minute. It's got a string that goes straight up and down. Now, I don't want any of you instinctive shooters or hunters to cut me off here, so hear me out. I recommend that if you want to see if your arrows are tuned and flying down the middle, that you use your point as a reference. Any good instinctive shooter will tell you that the brain's an amazing thing, and it makes corrections. Your brain wants you to hit the spot that you're focused on. So if you will aim your arrow or put the point as you're looking at full draw at the base or the bottom of that string when you shoot, then you've taken out all the variables of any correction. So put the point on the bottom of that string and shoot the arrows. See where they group. If they're left of the string, then you're stiff. If they're right of the string, then you're weak. But you won't make any corrections doing that. It's very difficult to tune arrows and find out how they're flying if you're shooting instinctively. It can be done. You can get close. I'm trying to get them as precise as I can for you, and I'm just telling you, the more variables that you eliminate in the tuning process, the better you're going to be, and the more true your arrows are going to fly once you fletch them, which is really making good corrections for them. So we're going to take these 3 arrows. I'm going to put the point right at the bottom of the string on that target there, and we'll see where they fall on the string and find out if they're flying nice and true down the middle, or if they're too stiff and out the left or too weak and out the right. All right, so those flew in there pretty nicely, right about the string. There's one right on the string, one on the right, one on the left, and then that other one's out the left. That could have been me on the shot. So flying nice down the middle. You want them to be right on the string, and you know that you're lined up and shooting well. Let's shoot some animals.